6 years ago, I had a moment that completely changed me, and I don't think my life has ever been the same since. I remember back in 2017, sometime in the month of February, I got together with one of my middle school buddies of the time. It wasn't complicated, we were just kiddos, so we kept it simple. We shot some airsoft guns in the woods, talked about girls in our class, and played some video games. Basic 13-year-old stuff. Sometime later that day, we decided it would be such a great idea to brutally beat the shit out of each other on his bedroom floor until we couldn't anymore. I know, we were complete geniuses at the time. But before we wrestled, we decided we would both take off our shirts so that we could eliminate the temptation of grasping at each other's garments, so it would be more of a fair match. Also, to put this story into context, I was severely overweight at the time. Like, I was only 13, but at the time, I had a pretty sizable paunch and pair of titties. So I remember I grabbed the collar of my shirt, pulled it over my head, and tossed it on the bed. And as I stood there shirtless, my friend made a comment about my man boobs. I don't remember what he said specifically, but I remembered dude, it was just like a slap in the face. Listen, we were both 13. He wasn't trying to be malicious or hurt my feelings. I get it. We were a bunch of stupid kids. But at the time, his comment about my man titties just completely destroyed me. I literally thought about his comment every day for the next couple of months. So about a week after that situation, I decided I didn't want to have man titties anymore. So I went to my dad and said, "Daddy." He was like, "Yes, son." And I was like, "I want to go to the gym." And so my dad, being the absolute G that he is, started bringing me to the gym with him 3 times a week. And 3 months after that, I started CrossFit and did that for about 2 years until finally signing up to a traditional weightlifting gym. Fast forward to today, and I have continued lifting weights consistently ever since. And over the past 6 years, I have taken my body from being severely overweight and having man boobs to the picture you see before you. I wish I had some picture to show you guys from when I was overweight, because it was pretty bad. But at the time, I was just completely petrified to even step foot in front of a camera, so they just don't exist. But the reason that day in February of 2017 impacted me on such a deep level is because when my friend made that remark, it forced me to look at myself and think, do I really like where I am in this area of my life? So being honest with myself, I just had to be like, no, I don't like where I am. And over the next year and a half, I went from hating my body to completely transforming it for the better. And this obsession with physical self-betterment bled into all the other areas of my life. This moment, as painful as it was at the time, shoved me onto the path of self-actualization. And I will never be the same because of it. So, Isaac, if you ever see this video, if you're in the audience, thank you for making fun of my man titties when we were 13. So I want to put you in a situation similar to the situation that I was put in 6 years ago, not just in terms of your physical fitness, but in every other area of your life as well. I want you to look at the house you live in, look at the car you drive, the job you have, the body you inhabit, and the friends you hang out with. Take a step back, gaze at yourself in the mirror, and ask yourself, am I truly living the way I want to? Not just in terms of your material wealth and your stuff, but also ask yourself, is your mental, spiritual, and emotional health as good as you'd currently like it to be? If someone else were to swap bodies with you and have the experiences that you are currently having right now, would they be like,
damn son, this is pretty goddamn cool?
Or would they be like,
dude, this kind of sucks ass, bro?
Do you like the way your day-to-day experience looks right now? Are you waking up every day passionate and excited, full of zeal and gusto to go do the things that you genuinely want to do? If someone asked you the question, do you love your life? Would you be able to answer with an emphatically enthusiastic hell yes? If you're honest with yourself, probably not. You probably clicked on this video because you're not 100% satisfied with where you are in life right now. There's a pretty good chance that there's a lot of things that you would change if you could. You might not have the time to work on your passions because that job you've been at for so long takes up most of your time, or you don't have the body and energy you want because eating the right foods, hitting the weights, and prioritizing your health just hasn't been a priority for you. It feels like somehow, slowly over the years, you've fallen into a rut that you just can't seem to get yourself out of. There's just too many things holding you down. Your friends are losers, your job is soul-sucking, and your mental health is in shambles. And please, forgive my French here, but your life is fucked. If you take a look at your life and don't like what you see, that should scare you, because the clock is always continuously ticking, winding down, and you still don't have a plan.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
One day, you will be an old man, and if you haven't pursued your passions, fulfilled your purpose, and accomplished the things you wanted to do, then you will simply be an empty shell of a human being, looking back at your mediocre life, wondering where the time went. You'll be asking yourself, why didn't I just fucking do it? Why didn't I have the gumption to just build the life that I wanted? But right now, you are not that old man. You are a young, healthy chap with so much time and potential. If you get your mindset right, you can literally do anything you set your mind to and live any type of life it is that you desire. Believe me when I say there are an endless amount of opportunities out there to change your life. So in this video, I want to share with you a 3-step process that you can use to break yourself out of this rut and start moving in the direction of your dream life. These steps can apply to improving your fitness, bettering your social skills, or gaining financial independence. This is a simple system that you can implement into your specific life situation to grab your life by the freaking kahunas and shift your less than optimal existence from something that's depressive to something that's impressive. I want to show you how to unfuck your life. Okay, to begin with, for the first step in this process, I need you to get mad. Like, really freaking mad. Look at yourself in the mirror and be fucking pissed at what you see. And don't get angry at some external source, like your parents or your friends or the government. No, I need you to get mad at you. Don't go easy on yourself on this one. I need you to identify every single area in your life that you know you are not up to par in yet. Gaze upon your own mediocrity and then become enraged. You should be furious with yourself. Feel your blood boil. The only reason you have not started moving towards a better life with speed is because you've been giving yourself too much slack and you haven't been disciplined. The reason you feel so bad about yourself right now is because the future version of you is watching your every move, and frankly, they don't like what they see. You're like, Andrew, aren't I supposed to love and accept myself? Self-love is important. Listen, as much as I understand that side of the coin, the just love yourself and everything will be okay message, and there is a place for it, there is a dark side to it that must be addressed. The majority of people use the just love yourself trope as an excuse to become complacent and avoid positive evolution, because improvement and positive change is painful. Who loves himself more though? The guy who goes to the gym regularly and eats well because he knows it's good for him, or the fat slob who binges on Doritos and Oreos while watching Netflix? Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to answer that one. And if your answer was the Oreo dude, then I don't even know what to tell you, son. If you truly love yourself, you will be doing what is best for you in the long run. Stop loving yourself in some sort of fake artificial way, but truly love yourself. Be your own coach. If you've ever played sports in high school and had the opportunity to have a coach that genuinely cared about your well-being as well as your performance, then you know what I mean by this. Back in high school, I participated in a few seasons of wrestling. And sure, there were some times when my coach, Mr. Greg, was gentle and encouraging because he knew I was having a rough day. But there were also some times out there when I was just being a lazy fuck. And during those times, it was good that he got mad at me. He had seen what I was capable of and knew I had so much potential. So when he saw me slacking off, he needed to bust my chops a little bit and yell and scream and become enraged that I was underperforming. So do the same thing. Be your own coach. Take a look at your performance, own up to your mistakes, acknowledge where you're fucking up, and then get angry at yourself that you currently are not living up to your potential. Because I guarantee that if you're watching this video, you're not. And listen, this video isn't meant to be a diss to you. I'm trying to help you. I am by no means perfect in this regard either. 80% of the time, I'm not living up to my potential. But still, every day I have to wake up and acknowledge where I'm slacking off, and then tell myself, Andrew, you're being a lazy piece of shit. It is my responsibility to beat my own ass into the high-level performer that I truly want to become. And you must do the same, because if you don't, nobody else will. This is the only way to move towards a better life. If you genuinely care about your future, you will be pissed when you see yourself making shitty decisions. If you're stuck in a shitty life situation and you want to improve that situation, you need to stop tolerating your own low-level degenerate behavior. A good coach takes full responsibility for the wins and losses of his team. As your own coach, you need to wake up to the reality that you are 100% responsible for everything that happens to you. Own your losses and your wins. Everything you have ever done in your life has led up to this point. Every thought, every good and bad decision, every action, and even every emotion has charted the path to the exact spot, time, and place that you are sitting in right now. If you're fat, it's your fault that you put garbage in your mouth. If you approached that girl and she rejected you, it's because of something you said or did. If you're broke, it's your fault that you haven't been working your ass off to break yourself out of that soul-sucking 9-to-5. If you constantly lack energy and you have bad social anxiety, it's your fault that you jerk off every day and don't meditate. If you want to lose the fat and see your abs, Sometimes you gotta take responsibility for the food that you're putting in your mouth. If you want to see the number in your bank account go above 20,000 for the first time in your life, you need to start taking action to learn valuable and marketable skills. If you want to break your addiction to corn and whacking off so you can reclaim your energy, focus, and mental clarity, you need to take responsibility for the fact that you haven't read my 44-page guide to mastering your sexual energy as a man. Like, bro, what the fuck you doing? Link in the description. Check it out. I hope you enjoy. In all these areas of your life, you hold the reins of power. You are the captain of your own ship. And if you think you aren't the captain of your own ship, it's because you've been flippantly giving your power away to external sources and other things outside of yourself. Either your job or the government or your friends or your excuses. Stop playing the blame game and giving your power away and take control of your life. I understand that there are factors within all of our lives that we don't have direct control over, like catching a cold or the economy crashing, but still, you have so much power to dive into those less than optimal situations and carve out a path for yourself regardless of the obstacles. In this world, there's always a way to better adapt so as to improve your life. Think about all of human existence. It's either adapt and evolve or die. So do the same in your own life. I know I'm looping on the same thing, but the point I'm trying to make is that you have the power to change your reality. And listen, I'm not saying anything new. This is basic self-improvement 101. What's the number one rule you learn in self-help? Like the first thing they teach you, don't be a victim. This principle is the foundation of every single self-help book out there. It's in the name, self-help. The use of one's own efforts and resources to achieve things without relying on others. You are providing assistance to yourself because you're acknowledging the fact that nobody can save you except for you. You are the one most capable of improving your life. You are the hero and the villain of your own story. You hold the pen and you get to dictate how your story plays out. So get angry at yourself for handing all of your power over to the villain. Become infuriated with yourself that you've been catering to the compulsive, lazy, low version of yourself and hand the reins of your life back into the hands of the only person who has the power to change your situation for the better, you. So, step one's complete. You've taken 100% responsibility for everything in your life. You've identified where you're fucking up, and you're allowing the anger to fuel you. Now, what step two is, you need to get your freaking priorities straight. There was a great book that came out in 2016 called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. In the book, the author, Mark Manson, takes the reader through his personal journey of how he discovered what he should personally prioritize in his life. At the beginning of the book, he cared too much about everything, letting his self-worth rely on the fickle opinions of others and allowing his priorities to rest on whatever distraction was currently in his field of vision at the time. But then, after some introspection, Manson decided he was done caring about things. He didn't want to have any of his emotional or mental capital invested in anything. After all, why should he? You're gonna die one day, and it's all fucking garbage that doesn't matter anyway, so why give a fuck? And so he proceeded to sink into the deep pit of metaphorical quicksand known as existential nihilism. But in my case, I covered up my baggage and insecurities with a sense of entitlement. And, you know, because so much of my pain revolved around intimacy and relationships and trust, I just became kind of an entitled asshole with a lot of relationships in my life. From that pain and from that place of just not knowing, you know, what the hell to believe, not being able to trust anybody, I was like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna get what I want. Sure, he stopped giving a fuck, but he stopped giving a fuck about everything, the bad and the good, the haters and his friends. In the book, he says that he has this stretch of about 4 years in his past that he literally has no friends from. He just cut off his emotions and his attention from everyone and everything. But then, as Mark Manson explains, he eventually had to make the shift from not giving a fuck about everything to only giving a fuck about the things that actually mattered in his life. Things like his health, his family, and his well-being. So for each one of us, we just have to take a moment to sit down and really think, what do we actually care about? In the 21st century, there's social media, loser friends, pop culture, all of it just pure garbage. All of these distractions are just constantly thrown in our faces to try to pull our attention away from the things that we should actually be caring about in our lives. What would happen if you stopped giving a fuck about video games and who won the Super Bowl and what the Kardashians did last weekend and started pouring your attention into things that would actually improve your life? What would happen if you got your priorities straight, you put the blinders on, blocked out all distractions, and only focused on your spiritual, mental, and physical health, along with stacking cash and nurturing your relationships, I'll tell you what would happen. You would transform from a small, sad, depressed little caterpillar into a beautiful, fulfilled, strong, and healthy butterfly. If you started prioritizing the 4 to 7 different things in your life that would actually move the freaking ball forward, your current life situation would undergo complete metamorphosis at hyperspeed. Listen, I know you're like, okay, Andrew, that's all good and fine and stuff, like, cool, get rid of bad things, keep good things. Got it. Mind blown, I know. How are you supposed to differentiate between the two? Well, it's very simple, actually. Identify what kind of life you want to move towards and then reverse engineer the steps of the journey that you would have to take to get there. You can either do this independently by yourself or get the help of an authority figure in that specific area or field so that he can help you, cut down your learning time and speed up the process. Optimally, you should use both. If you're like, I want to see my abs for the first time, then consume fitness content on your own downtime or buy a workout program from somebody who's already gotten those results and then follow what they say. Or if you want to start your own business, start reading marketing books and learning about how to build products, and then start consistently taking action on the things that you're learning. But through this process of learning and then doing over and over again, you will start to shine a light on the things in your life that you should actually be giving a fuck about. This process of discovering what is attention worthy in your life isn't all going to be instant. These things will gradually be revealed to you over time. But to give you a little bit of a head start, I'm going to let you guys in on what things have made the biggest and most positive impact in not only my life, but also all the other happy, fulfilled, and successful people I know. The most important things you could give your time, attention, and focus to will probably reveal around 3 main things. The first thing you need to start giving a fuck about would be your physical health. Because even if you had all the money and friends you could ever want, if you're sick and lethargic all the time, it doesn't mean shit. So you should start focusing on things like eating well, doing exercise, getting sunlight, and optimizing your sleep. Your body is the vehicle in which you experience and scoot around life in. So, bro, start making it a priority. I'm going to call the second area your spiritual and mental well-being. And this encapsulates a whole bunch of important stuff. This is your relationships, your passions, your hobbies, your connection with a higher power, etc. Basically, anything that brings you to a place of peace, joy, and fulfillment would fit under this umbrella. This will look a little bit different for every person, but in general, you can't go wrong with meditation, walks in nature, spending time on your passions, and hanging out with your friends and family. If you ignore this side of your life and chase solely after things like money, girls, your dream body, whatever it may be, sure, you'll have all the superficial markers of success. You'll have the money, you'll have the Lambo, you'll have the hot chick, you'll have the abs. I'm not saying money is bad or evil. I make that very clear in the next point, but there's other important stuff in life. All those things of having those possessions won't necessarily bring you to a place of feeling fulfilled. And even though it will look like you have your life in order from the outside looking in, if you don't nurture this area of your life, you'll still feel like your life is fucked. Dun, da, da, da. The third area would be your financial situation. Do not overlook this point. This is very important because in 2023, unless you're going to be a monk and go live in the woods and meditate in a cave for the rest of your life, you can't really have a high quality of life without at least a little bit of dough. In the 21st century, money equals freedom of your time. And you need time freedom to focus on the first 2 points we just talked about, your physical and your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So this is going to include things like learning valuable skills, studying marketing and sales, stacking money-generating assets, and figuring out ways of how you can add value to the global marketplace so that you are rewarded with copious amounts of money. You could literally take this any direction you wanted. There are so many ways you could approach this, but optimally, you should find a way to turn your passions, your hobbies, and your interests into a monetizable skill so that you can combine your fulfillment and life's work with your ability to generate income. Because if you do, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and you're just making the whole process so much more enjoyable and streamlined. I personally love studying ideas, writing about them, and sharing those findings along with my personal experience to young guys so that they can improve their lives. That's the thing that just really bakes my cake, if you know what I'm saying. So one of my main goals right now is to figure out a way to turn that passion into a way to support myself financially. That includes this YouTube channel, my Instagram, products I'm creating, coaching, etc., etc. There's literally so much I could say on the topic of making money, but I'm just going to give you the basics and leave the rest up to you and your own research. If you want to make money, first create value and then then offer that value to people. And if you want to make even more money, then become even more valuable and provide that value to even more people. Simple as that, I will say no more. What's nice is that these three areas all stack on each other and interconnect. If you improve your physical health, you'll feel better mentally. And if you feel better mentally, you'll have more drive and motivation to go out and work on building your skills or a business. And when you end up making more money because of that, then you'll have more time, money, and freedom to spend on things like your fitness, relationships, and passions. The cycle repeats and it's an upward spiral from there. So to sum up this section, after you've gotten angry at yourself and taken full responsibility of your life, then ruthlessly cut out distractions, get your priorities straight, and start pouring your focus, time, and attention into the three different things that will actually improve your life. Figure out what is important to you and then discard everything else. The third step to unfucking your life is a psychological shift that you are going to have to make progressively over the long term. To drastically change your life, you need to transition from obsessing about the outcome to enjoying and falling in love with the process. Obviously, you need that little bit of anger and thirst for a better outcome in your life so that you're actually compelled to go and take the action. Having goals and desires for the future creates tension between where you currently are and where you want to be, and this tension pushes you to take action even on those days when you don't feel like it. Having goals for the future will give you that North Star that you can consistently walk towards in your life. But becoming obsessed with one specific outcome only works up until a certain point. For example, and I've told this story before in one of my other videos, but in the book The Tao Te Ching, there is told the story of two gardeners. And the one gardener, he doesn't care about watering his trees and nurturing his plants. The only thing that is driving him to take care of these plants is the hope that these plants will one day bear fruit for him. He isn't in love with the actions that he takes on a day-to-day basis. For the first gardener, everything that this guy does is just a means to an end. But the second gardener is absolutely in love with the actions he takes every day. Of course, when the fruit does come, he thoroughly enjoys it and it tastes amazing, but he is in love with the process of planting his trees and watering and nurturing these plants. And so the story goes that even though the first gardener objectively cares about the end result more, his trees bear significantly less fruit than gardener number two because he is not fully engaged in the process. He doesn't enjoy the process. The only reason he's actually doing something and taking action is because he's just so hungry for the end result. But if only the first gardener would step back and become present and detach his emotional investment from the outcome, he would be less stressed and therefore be coming from a place of inspired action. Paradoxically, because the second gardener cares less about the specific outcome, i.e. the fruit, he is the one who receives more return on his actual labor. Because when you detach yourself from the outcome and you fall in love with the process of doing, then the quality of your doing will be so much greater. And when the quality of the work you're doing is higher, then you are getting more bang for your buck, so to speak. So for example, if you're trying to lose some fat and build up your physique, obviously don't get rid of your desire for the outcome because that desire is probably the only thing pushing you to get into the gym in the first place. But as time goes on, try to come from a place of just thorough enjoyment of the process. Because I guarantee you that if you fall in love with the process of tracking your macros and lifting the weights, you are going to have significantly more progress than the guy who just wants to look good, but he doesn't actually like going to the gym. Same thing in business, or if you're learning a new skill, you need to identify the change you want to see in your life so that you have a direction to point your metaphorical ships towards. But it's equally as important that you enjoy the process. Because man, when you enjoy the journey, the goals just fucking happen. You're just going along and you hit milestones as like a side effect. The man who enjoys walking will travel farther than the man who loves the destination. So identify the goals you have and obsess about the goals in the beginning, but only up until the point that obsessing doesn't serve you anymore. After that point, allow your enjoyment of the process to become your fuel. And if you follow these three steps, first you own up to your mistakes and take full responsibility for your life. And then number two, get your priorities straight, ruthlessly cut out distractions and focus on the important things in your life. And then number three, round it all off with enjoying the actions it will take to get there. You will put yourself on the path to completely changing your world and ultimately unfucking your life. Boom, you reached the end of the video. Kudos to you. If you want to see more content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and I don't know, maybe click the little notification bell. If you'd like to personally talk to me about some of the areas you've been struggling with, right now I'm offering you the opportunity to set up a free one-on-one call with me. Spots for that have been filling up quite quickly. So if you're interested in that, the link to set up that call will be in the description. Or if you'd like to get access to my 44-page guide, The First 30 Days, a comprehensive guide to mastering your sexual energy as a man, link to that will also be in the description. That's it. I'll see you in the next video, my boys. Peace.